Talinka.
All right, cool. We're live. We're live. All right, so I'm gonna be super rude, stare at my phone real quick, but it's gonna take a little while for some people to jump on, anyways.
Ruben's going
Um,
live all over. Takes a second to go live all over.
it does take a little second. Like right now, it's not even. It's not even. Oh, okay. Here we go. Here we go. Live and in charge. All right. So I guess we are live. So if you want to tell everyone who you are, what you do, how you do it, and all that good jazz.
I love you. You gave me the choice. You're like, if you're up for it, Jess, like tell them what's up.
Yeah, you ain't got to. You
What's
can
up?
actually leave
Yeah.
right now if you want.
Bye. What's up,
Yeah.
Ruben? I'm so glad to hang out with you. So I'm Jessica Nieto, eXp Realty, team leader of the Nieto Connect team in California. And love being in community with Ruben because number one, he seems like a nice guy, but dude actually like will tell you exactly what you need to hear when you need to hear it to get your shit together. So
Yep.
I'm excited. That's why I love Ruben. So a little bit about me. I guess people want to know that you sell real estate in order to listen, right?
I guess so.
I sell a lot of. I guess so. I sell a lot of real estate. Team did a little over 200 transactions last year, about 140 million. Our average sales price is 675, and then we're number 10 in California teams at eXp right now to date. Year to date, we've done 42 transactions. So yeah, I sell real estate as a human being. My favorite thing, way to sum me up is I'm all of me and sometimes too much of me for most people. So, and that's what we're going to talk a little bit about today, right? Is just like showing up as all of who you are to attract the right people that help you create a life that is fun and that you enjoy. So, been at EXP since 2020. So I'm coming up on 5 years in April, 5-time icon agent. And Ruben and I knew of each other, but we actually did not actually meet up until EXPCon this last year in person. And Ruben won Mentor of the Year. I won Icon of the Year. And we're like, cool. We're like, icons. Let's talk about it. And so here we are.
Yeah, I was like, yo, can we take my picture off the TVs, please?
You're so humble, dude.
Yeah, I was like, let's do that. But it only was natural that we would connect with you being Icon of the Year and I was Mentor of the Year. So, and then we hit it off. So, I was on your podcast. If you don't mind, tell
Yes.
me what your podcast name is. And then I had to bring you on to Be More Training. But what's the name of your
Of
podcast if
course,
anybody
yeah.
wants to
I've got
check it
the
out?
Reveal podcast, so it's all about helping entrepreneurs kind of break through wherever they're at. So just unpacking and trying to extract the stories from all the successful people that you see out there in the industry, and kind of getting them to pour out, where they got stuck, and then like the actionable strategies of how they got through to the other side. So a lot
Yeah.
of fun.
Very raw, very real. So I appreciate that. And congratulations being number 10 year to date within California. That's huge. But with everything you got going on, what would you say for anybody who's listening? What is your role? What is your role right now? Your main role. You wake up in the morning. What is the role you play?
So super simple. I every day want to be a little bit better at being the best leader of myself. I mean, sounds like so simple, but if you can be the best leader of you, then you earn the privilege of leading others to what they want.
What did you
So,
have to identify that made probably the largest jump in you being a leader within yourself?
it's crazy because I think everybody wants the blueprint and the framework of this like really complex thing that they can open up and be like, "Oh, I just execute upon this and it shall work." And like the really bad news that I feel like nobody wants to just understand is the truth is that it is the simple things of standing in your values. It is the
Mm,
simple basic stuff of doing it consistently. So for me, do what you say you will do, but like even maybe a little bit more. For example, I have one notebook, and in that notebook is everything I say I will do. If it comes out of my mouth, I will do that. I will connect you to this person. I will follow up on that. It goes in this book, or it's actually my notepad on my computer or my phone. It's called Notes for the iPhone users out there. And it's like, I said I was going to do this thing, and I make sure that I do it by the time I said I do it, and do it better than I said I would. And that right there has like built a reputation that I have of integrity that precedes me even coming into a room. They know if
right.
Jessica's there, like she's going to do exactly what she said she was going to do. Simple, right?
Yeah. But I mean, that's huge. And I do want to say for anybody who's listening, ask questions. So this is very engaging. If you have a question, just ask it. But that is huge. Could you give me an example? Matter of fact, because I have a question here, and I guess I'll just go ahead and ask it, is what personal value used to be extremely important to you that has recently flipped? Because I know how important,
Ooh, I got
over.
one for that.
All right, let's go. Let's story time, baby.
Yeah. So one of the beliefs that I used to tell myself is that how I continued to keep the clients, like I have a lot of repeat clients, investor clients, and the way that I was able to keep them was by being accessible to all people all the time. That's a big one, right? And the truth is you don't. You're just afraid to not answer the phone, right? So that
Hmm.
was a big one for me, is just changing that belief that I had, and that value of like, well, I will answer the phone anytime. And I'm not saying that's like going to be the only thing that changes your life. The thing that changes your life is when you put your non-negotiables in your calendar and you know that this is first. Like if I tell my wife I'm going to do something and I'm going to be at 2 o'clock, yeah, I'll go on the dog walk. I'm going to be ready to go out the door at 2 o'clock. Not like, oh, big client opportunity came up. Can I'll like, let's walk later. No, because then I know that like, however I show up outside for everyone else, I show up that way at home too. And then
Yeah.
I really like live and stand in my values of having integrity.
Yeah, and then you give an example to your team members or the people who look up to you as well, right? Because by you living in that, they start to believe that they could do that for themselves. I will, since it was recently changed, what would you say to a brand new agent, very interested in becoming an icon agent or even icon of the year? Do they still need that mentality from day one, or do you think it's hustle mode from the very beginning?
Yeah, so I hustle, right? And so, how can you go on a walk at 2 and, and deal with all these other things you're doing in your business to create all the success? Like my hair is never on fire because I can't make good decisions when I'm a mess. Like I
Mm,
need clarity and I need calmness. It doesn't always feel that way. That's not the reality, but I always say if you're a brand new agent starting out, you're in a way better situation than I am in order to make those decisions of building a business around who you want to be and who you want to spend your time with
so
and what
true.
kind of clients you want. It sounds like not simple, but it's a long game. But if you start with basic principles and hard line boundaries. So for example, Ruben, we were standing around a table at EXPCon and I'm like, so what do you want, Ruben? What do you want to do like this year? And you're like, I'm figuring it out. And I'm like, okay, but flip a coin in the air and like it's gonna land in like 0 seconds. What's your answer? He's like, spend more time with my kid. Like that never changes from like brand new agent to taking over the world, owning like a bunch of doors like Ruben does, and like being mentor of the year and training lots of people and selling lots of real estate. And that doesn't change. So you've got to figure out like put those things in your calendar and like then everything else falls into place around it. And if you have kids, I don't, believe me when you tell a client like, hey, got soccer practice at 5, but we can connect after the kids in bed, like how about 7? And they're like, I'm in bed at 7. Cool, how's tomorrow look like at noon? They love it and they respect it. What's
100%.
up, Ali Garced?
Yeah, she's the bomb diggity Allie. She was just on the
Dude,
last Be More training, spitting some game.
she's
Um,
always being more. I love Ali.
yeah. But that just happened to me with a client yesterday. I said, that I was with my daughter at the time. It was late in the evening to me, around like 5:36. And and
Bedtime.
bedtime, getting close to bedtime. And they weren't like, man, you better answer the phone. They were super chill. They don't have kids. They understood. They said, totally fine. Can you give us a call afterwards? I was like, too easy. But that was definitely my time. Now, what would you say is almost a reflective of the same importance, but in the business? Now, the personal, of course, very important. But what would you say is equally as important in the business that you focus on every day?
Yeah. So if I'm going to tell my team, like, say, for example, I have a team member that dials, right? They're a dialer. How can I motivate them, hold them accountable for making calls if I don't make the calls that I'm committed to making? So, I mean, Chet Black says this, all the great leaders say this. It's don't teach people how to do things and tell them how to do things, show them how to do things,
Yeah.
right? And that's one of the best ways that I've been able to help people get from like, I'm not quite there, I just am not getting results, like getting in front of them, let's do the thing. Like end to end, we're going to make calls together, we're going to get the system set up, we're going to test it and make sure it works, we're going to get you confident, and you're going to make calls before we get off the phone. And then like, boom, they're on their way. Because for even for ourselves, like we can create an environment where people can thrive, but they have to choose to do the thing. They have
Mhm.
to choose to do the work. So for me, the one thing is like if your pipeline gets full because you're making calls or because you're doing whatever it is, Instagram, I don't care what the thing is that you're doing. If you think you can just stop doing that thing and all of a sudden you're just going to like glide your way through the rest of life, like at some point you either have to leverage it. We got Austin Chevron on, like he and I, like we I love me some Austin Chevron. He'll probably tell you like some things way differently than me. We've been on a stage together, you know, and he's going to talk to you about leverage and like not doing that thing forever. But you can build a really, really great life. The thing you're doing might change a little bit. It might be like a different person that you're reaching out to. You might be prospecting to grow your revenue share group instead of prospecting for listings, but you've still got to do those basic things that got you there. You have to continue to put those basic things in, because if the rug gets pulled out from underneath you, which it's happened to me many times in my business, like boom, that repeat client, that big part of your business, it's just gone one day. How are you going to start over again? Or how are you going to build out more of your business? By going back to those basic principles. It
Uh,
works.
yeah. So two things. One, I have people that will reach out and be like, "Hey, can I shadow you for a day?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Do you want to be bored?" Like it's
Great.
it's not as sexy as you think, right? It's a very, I
I
guess,
got
quote
like
unquote.
5 water glasses and
eh,
like, you know.
Yeah, I mean, like I sit in front of the computer and talk to my people. Like, just it's very, it's not as sexy as people might think, but I think that's what obviously fast forwards it for you. What are some of those very simple, boring thing, or what kind of advice would you give for someone who's listening that's a brand new agent, again, that wants to be maybe an icon or just a capper or just wants to close their first deal in 12 months? What are some of those simple activities that they could do today that could help them reach that goal? The simple ones.
Okay, simple ones. One is mindset is hygiene, right? Like you got to take a bath every day. I'm sure you've heard that from somebody else, and I don't know who I heard it from, but it's like the best way to think of it. Mindset is hygiene. And
Mm.
for me, it's like when I wake up, you got to get into the place that gets you excited. Like that's why, like, someone to go to like Tony Robbins, and they're like fired up, like I'm gonna take over the world, and then like go home, wake up, and just like nothing, no fuel, like nothing to go on. It's a daily exercise. So find the people that really like remind you of who you are, like get you excited. That's your environment, right? That's the community that Ruben provides for y'all, right? So plug into that. Two is you cannot just say you believe in something. Like you have to really cultivate belief in what you're doing. We're at the top 250, missed you there, Ruben, mastermind in Dallas. Oh my God, what a room. Like I love like, like you have all these accolades of what you're doing, but you know, don't just look at people and say, "Oh wow, top 10. That's amazing. I could never be that." You don't even know how profitable they are. You don't even know if they're a good person. You don't know if they're good to
Yeah.
their family. They treat their kids nice or they call their grandma. You have no idea, right? So find the people that like you want to be like, and get into those rooms if you can, like any way you can. If you can't get into the room, create one, like whatever you got to do, but get into a community that wants to see you win. And then cultivating belief. So we're at the Dallas Mastermind. Tom Ferry's talking about one of his mentors, and he talks about how to cultivate belief. And I want to share you. Can I share this with you guys, Ruben? All right.
No.
So number one, I'm telling them anyway. Number one, you have to believe that it is there for the taking. Like whatever that thing is that you want, it's there and it is available for you to go and get. Number two, you have to absolutely believe that you're able to do it. Whether or not you have the skill set, the mindset, the tool set, it doesn't matter, because Ruben can teach you how to do it. Ruben can hold you accountable. Like you can go out and learn the thing free, and then have Ruben hold you accountable as mentor of the year, right? So you've got everything you need, but you have to believe that you could do it. And then number 3 is the big one. Number 3 is you have to believe that all the effort will be worth it. And like, don't you love that framework? That's how you cultivate belief in something, not just
Yep.
like, yeah, I think I can do it. So those are simple, but those are like, you need that in order to do the rest. Okay, so here's the basic stuff. This is like, pick up the rocks that are right out in your front yard and like find the deals and the business that's right under your nose. Okay. It's cultivating deeper connections and relationships with the people that touch business every day that you don't even think to call. You're so busy, like, and I know I'm talking poop to people because I'm around Ruben, so it's just like rubs off on me, like talk as much shit as possible, right?
Yeah, let's
Um,
go.
but the business under your nose is like, how many like handymen, HVAC contractors, termite companies, escrow officers, all of those people are human beings that know other people that buy and sell real estate. But how many people actually reach out and cultivate deeper connections with them by asking them, how are they doing? How is their business? How can you help them? And the thing that's really helped me excel in my business and my life and my joy and happiness that I have is that I help first, not tied to an outcome, but the process and the daily of like, how can I help and support the people around me? And then there's something called like the power of reciprocity. People will want to know how they can help you. And then when you need it, whether it's advice, a connection, whatever, you can ask for it. You have to ask for it. And then you have to be willing to accept the help. Is that too simple, Ruben? I wish this
No,
shit was complicated.
I
It's
agreed.
just so simple.
It's
I
just
did it
that.
yesterday. I could give examples maybe. I can like add a little, sprinkle a little example in.
Let's go.
Met with one of my contractors for an hour. Okay. Sat with them for an hour on Zoom. We didn't even meet in person. I'm not a big lunch person. Like, I like to stay at my house and see my dogs and all that. And we sat and talked about how I could help them with their business. Who do they need to know? What are their goals for the year? You know, what are some of the challenges that they have? And I came up with 4 people or resources or things that I can connect them with that would help them solve those problems. Who do they refer all their business to?
Yeah.
When they want to buy an investment property, a commercial property for their business, me.
Yep.
They wouldn't think of anyone else.
Yeah.
So,
There's a lot of gimme that could happen.
mm,
And I totally understand. Gary Vee wrote that book, Jab, 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 Right Hook, which is essentially
mm,
that value, 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 then ask for help. But you have to deliver value and be there for them for extended amount of time. But yeah, I just did this with one of our lenders. We broke down, we built what's called a GPS 135, which is a goals priority strategy type deal. Yeah, man, I love it. But I guess you have to in some way really truly love helping someone and not just like doing it like a check on the list, because
yeah.
like you were saying earlier, you might not, if you're going for the return, you're not going to see a return for a while. You know what I mean? It truly has to be something that you go and truly help more people with. My wife does interior design, and she gave someone like, hey, this is what it could be. They were like, I can't afford it right now. And she was like, screw it, I'm gonna do it anyways. Just did it anyways. And guess what? 2 referrals came from that. And she wasn't looking
Yep.
for that, but she was just there to help no matter what. So I agree 100%. I love that. Quick question. What is your number one KPI that you personally track? It could be relationships or some of the stuff you talked about, but what is like the thing that you focus on the most for 2025?
Yeah, it's how many conversations I have a day still. I know that's super simple. It's not how many calls or dials I make, but it's actually how many conversations I have. Um, I have lots of different conversations that maybe a brand new realtor would have with what I'm trying to build, but it's all the same exact thing. So
Yeah.
for me, I keep in a notebook how many conversations I have because it's the one thing that I have now conversations. So like any of you that are in fast cap, I'm adopting that same language because I love the framework and like I feel like it helps the agents on my team that are doing fast cap
Yep.
for us to kind of talk that same language, which is what is a real conversation. So not
Hmm.
like a conversation, but like a real conversation where we talk about in my case, like how I can support their business. Of course, then they ask me how they can help me in my business, which is asking for business. And then two, they understand that I'm going to follow up with them on that thing. Simple thing for that is summarize at the end of every conversation exactly when they're going to hear from you next, and exactly anything you spoke about or said you would do when you're going to follow up on that thing, and then get off the phone and then schedule it and then do the follow up. So those are conversations. Conversations are not like talk to the butcher at the marketplace, which, as an example, I was at the marketplace yesterday and the
Okay.
butcher and I are talking about his salsa business. And I'm like, oh, salsa business, where are you doing that from? He's like, yeah, we're still like have this small building that we're doing it in and we're leasing the space. And I'm like, oh, have you ever thought about buying a space? Like what would that look like? Oh, I haven't really thought about it. Oh, let's get you pre-qualified. Let's do that. Okay, cool. So like show people you can create clients. It's amazing. Like rather than thinking about who are the clients that just need to sell right now, number one, there's more competition. Two, that's a whole nother conversation, but you can actually go out and talk to people. And when you're talking to your lender partners and you know about these amazing products, you could be asking people deeper questions and then looking how to solve their problem by connecting them to products or services that turn them into a client. It's one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah, for somebody that might be hesitant to ask stranger questions like you did, do you have a framework, or at least from the beginning, it's obviously turned into more of a natural, but did you have a framework or something that helped you? It could be a framework in the way you ask a question, but to get these people started to asking a stranger and getting a lot more, coming from curiosity. Do you have anything like that to help out a newer person?
Yeah, absolutely. So one is I wasn't always good at communicating to people. Like as a kid, I was not a really great communicator. And even like in my 20s, I would say, and I would hear a lot of the things that people would say to me, like, you're so loud. I'm like, I'm still that way. But like, does that mean obnoxious? They don't like me. I don't know. But, get out of your head and just go, rather than thinking like, hey, I did pretty good. I met this cool person and we really connected. Get out of your head about things like being good enough and start like dissecting them and analyzing them and trying to figure out how you could be even better. So that's what I did. I'm a deeply curious person. So for me, I'm deeply curious about other people, and this could be for introverts too. Like a lot of successful introverts will tell you at some point they just had to understand the power of being a connector, right? So when you meet people, just analyze yourself afterwards. And so some of the things that I did is I studied communication. Like Chris Voss, just like watch one of his videos or read his book. Chris Voss, CHRISVOSS, just one person as an example. Another book like, what is it? The Master, let me back to my free coaches back here. Super Communicators by Charles Duhigg. So read a book, right? Study communication. All right, so here's what you're going to do when you get in front of somebody. This is like the simple framework for someone brand new, okay? So you're at the coffee shop. Start practicing at like the coffee shop or wherever you go get your donuts or whatever, and you're going to ask someone, "Hey, how are you doing this morning?"
Doing great. How
And
are
then
you?
guess what you do?
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. No, it works perfect. Oh, you got your coffee. Hey, Ruben, how you doing? How you doing this morning?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Awesome. I'm so glad to hear that. Now, here's something that's different because y'all are on a different side of the country, but in California, this is a little bit more how it goes. And maybe it's out this way out there. It's, hey, good morning. How are you? I'll take the double latte espresso macchiato, whatever.
Yeah.
Like no space. So I want you to try this because it's a little experiment when you go and you're interacting with someone or even on the phone or it's another realtor, is you're going to leave space for them to answer the question of how are you?
Mm.
And you're leaving space for that person. And so here's why that is because there's an exchange of energy when people feel seen by you and they want to reciprocate it. So what are they going to ask you? They're going to ask, oh, well, thanks for asking. How are you today?
Yeah.
And now they're engaged. You have their attention. Second thing is people love to talk about themselves and be asked about themselves. That's simple, right? Again, I'm
Yeah.
always like, we're always simplifying this stuff, but like,
Well, I think it started off simple. I think somewhere along the line, after years and years and years, people found ways to sell things that basically say the same thing in a different light. And now things have
mm,
become a little bit complicated and
yeah,
flooded with all kinds of stuff that we don't necessarily need to hear. And I would say that we're constantly yelling, go back to the basics, to the simple stuff.
yeah.
Just be a human.
Just be a human. And then the next step is ask better questions, right?
Yeah.
Same thing when somebody asks you questions. Don't feel like you're backed into a corner just because somebody asks you a question that you have to answer that like unthoughtful question. You could, hey, oh, well, tell me more about that. That's a perfectly fine response to someone asking you a question that wasn't very thoughtful. You could say, well, tell me more about that. What is it that you want to know about that? But just
Yeah.
engage with people. If people say, yeah, move it. Oh, let me give you a perfect example. Got a listing a few months back. And when I asked, I actually did the listing appointment over Zoom, and five other realtors went and met with this whole family table of people in a conference room that they had rented. We're talking 7 family members, right? So they go in for the listing appointment. I meet with them on Zoom, which, if you could imagine 7 people that don't use their computer very often, like turning off their mics and everyone being able to communicate, that took about 10 minutes. But once we got settled and we started talking afterwards, they told me that the number one reason why they hired me, this is going to blow your mind. I was the only person that asked them about their family and their dad and grandpa that had passed. The only person out of 6. The other ones just went right into their presentation.
Yeah.
So, isn't that interesting?
Yeah, I think it hits home on just being a human and just being a nice person and asking questions for sure. And then Rachel G says in the book Objections by Jeb Blunt, the author said that when people talk about themselves, share about themselves, they get a dopamine hit.
That's right. There's the science.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. We got the science, right? We got the proof. So, what's the worst piece of advice you ever got?
I love this question. So, this is the deep one. Remember, the environment that you want to be in is an environment where people show you a mirror to yourself.
Hmm.
So be careful of people that give you advice or give you guidance or give you some type of like roadmap based on the personal experience they have or the thing that they're skilled that they can train you on that makes them money. Let me simplify that. Don't hire someone to coach you to do something that they tell you you should do. Make sure that you're finding the people that want to see you win, that can hold you accountable to do the thing that you know you want. Um, that's advice that I would tell my younger self. No regrets, but that's definitely the worst advice I ever got. Is like, you should do this. That's why I'm big into the power of belief. Is first you have to get clarity and understand. You have to know what your values are, and you have to know exactly where you want to go, and that's not easy. Like, it could take you years to figure out, exactly what you want, but at least be clear, like, in the moment today, how you're going to function, how you're going to show up, and who you are right now.
Yeah.
That'd probably be the worst advice I ever got, was just advice to try something that I didn't even want, but I thought sounded good at the time.
Yeah. Do you think moments like that also sharpened and strengthened your values?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Like, if we wanted to go really, really dark, like this morning, I woke up and it's the 2-year anniversary. My little brother died. I didn't know if I was going to mention this or not, but he was such a beautiful person, and 2 years feels like yesterday. But when I woke up this morning, you're like doing your hair. Maybe you don't. Maybe you look in the mirror when you put your hat on, Ruben. Yeah, exactly. And you're just kind of looking in the mirror and you're doing your thing, and I thought to myself, like, I'm so proud of you, man. Like, you're up, and like you're gonna go do the thing of why you're here, and why are you really, 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 really here? Like, why are you really here? And I'm really here. I want to impact people. I want to help people. I don't want to take up space. I want to show people that they can go out and get whatever they want. That's part of my purpose. It makes me happy. So that's what I'm doing today. Right.
Yeah.
Uh, give yourself grace, but like show up.
Yeah. Yeah, that's huge, man. I was told a long time ago that you can, what was it? Like you can have a shitty day, but you can't have a shitty week. Essentially, it's like, and
I love that. Like, get up. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, thank you still for coming on, and I know that's that could be obviously a lot. And I tell my wife because her dad recently passed too, and I'm like, man, as long as you do what everything you just said, the thing that you feel is shining light on more people that can
Mm.
then shine light on more people. I mean, I tell her all the time, I was like, dude, your dad's kicking it right here with us, like stoked, and happy. And that's
I love
essentially
that.
what I see, as well for you.
Yeah, I have my dad, for example. I'll say this: like, if you don't have a dad or a person that like adores you or loves you or says amazing things to you all day, find somebody that will. My dad isn't like, "Hey, good morning, sweetie. How are you today?" He's like, "Go kick some ass today, baby." Like that's my dad.
Yeah.
Like find someone that's that person for you that makes you just feel like crazy ready. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just run into him at the grocery store. And it's like, you picking
yeah,
up bananas, Dad. I'm just grabbing bananas. He's like, yeah, but kick ass.
kick ass. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So kind of reverse, what is something you wish you were better at?
Ooh, something I wish I was better at. I always say that everything that I succeed at is in spite of myself. So, like, I am sometimes my own worst enemy. We all can be, right? And so, like, confidence and worthiness are two different things. So, I never thought I had an issue with worthiness, but like confidence, I will kick a door in, literally, like whatever. Like you won't let me in, I'll create a better room without you in it, and I'll bring everybody else that was in your room into my room. Like I'm just a competitive, confident
Yep.
person. Like I have no problem there. But worthiness is different, and what I've learned is that just don't wait till you feel worthy or ready, because you might not ever. I might not
Mhm.
ever. I don't care. I'm still going to show up in spite of myself, and it might be uncomfortable. I mean, you might like feel sick to your stomach physically to do whatever you said yes to or showed up for. But on the other side of it is quantum leaps, like literally quantum leaps of where you are today to where you could be by just being brave and doing something that you absolutely don't feel worthy or ready for. So,
Oh man, that hits because I was going through something like that, and then someone said, you grow most when you do things you're not qualified for.
right.
Or
And
you
it's
feel
Women's
like
History Month, so we'll throw that out, right? Like just build the parachute on the way down, right?
Yeah, 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 because you might not feel worthy or qualified to do that thing. But man, when you move into that space, it's a very forced growth thing. And there's a
Yeah.
reason why that opportunity was even laid in front of you. So thank the universe for that. And if you want more of
Yeah.
that, you got to lean into it and you're going to learn so much. And what's cool is so much that you learn in that moment. Do you hold it to
Oh my God.
yourself and like
Yeah.
close that door and just hold it? No, you share it. And that is just the universe building you to become a teacher for others. And again, spreading the light. So when they move into that, but you would have never been able to spread the light if you didn't lean into the thing that you were unqualified to do. So thank you for saying that. That I was
And
talking to myself.
perception is reality. Yeah, no, and
Yeah.
perception is reality. So you might go, Ruben's got it all together, Jessica's got it all together. Like, but that's your perception. You don't even know that to be true. Like one person could post every day about positivity on Facebook just because they feel like that's like what the world needs to see more of. And
Right.
that could be like the most like the person that's struggling. You don't even know. But your perception of them is what you see. So
Yeah.
perception is louder than reality.
Totally. I can't hear what was it? I can't hear what you're saying because your actions are too loud. All right.
Yeah, right.
What profession other than your own would be fun to attempt? This is kind of a fun question.
So mine has always been hostage negotiator. And that's another reason why I love
Oh,
Chris Voss.
yeah, like the whole when we went to EXP Con, you were in the room, I'm sure.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And
Yeah.
the tough whatever mastermind. Which again, like get into rooms, sneak your way in even if you don't have to. Like, I'm kidding. It's good advice though.
I did.
Um,
I did. That's literally one of that's I don't care. Yo, that's
I
literally one
know,
of our
right?
plays, man.
It's a great play, and that's again, that's about like if Ruben Garcia shows up and he was not invited, he's not in the top 250 of anything. It didn't matter because it's Ruben. He shows up, he's like, "Hey, where's the coffee?" Like no one's gonna be like, "Ruben, you need to leave immediately," like
Yeah.
ever.
I'll act like the janitor. Like I don't care.
Yeah.
I'll figure something out. I'm literally part of one of our plays. But what about a hostage negotiator? What about that? Like
Well,
excited you to
I
say.
already am one, right?
True.
I feel like that's what I do every day. So no, I love I've always loved psychology. Like that was my favorite. I love studying like the brain. I love studying memory. I love studying communication. Building relationships. I'm so fascinated by it, and so like strategic empathy is just so fascinating to me, and I love reading about it, studying about it. So it's become a superpower, not because I was born with it, but you know, um, yeah, so I would say hostage negotiator. And if you could be a really good hostage negotiator, you could be really great at anything. Right?
Very good point. What are some strategies? I mean, it sounds like this has been an interest. What are some strategies that you've pulled from being, let's say, checking out the hostage negotiating world that you've pulled into the real estate negotiating world? What are some strategies that you pulled over and that has worked?
Yeah. So one is absolutely like I'll just pull right from the book of Chris Voss that's really helped my team and I, which is that we live in a world of yes. Everyone's like
So
looking for, hey, every sales book you read, like everything you read is like, oh, they said no. Oh, you're only 19 no's away from a
yeah,
yes. It's
yep,
like
yep,
we got
yep,
to get to yes. We
yep.
want people to say yes, yes, yes. But people don't think the same when you ask them a no question because they don't have all of these crazy questions. Go, well, why are they asking me to say that? Well, what am I committing to? Well, what happens if I say yes? Oh, now they're gonna pull back and they're gonna be thinking it through. So training yourself to use no questions is one of it's an easy. It's like any muscle, right? Anything that you change, you just kind of have to like practice it and get a little bit better at it. Mirroring is another one. Just learning these simple little tools. So, for example, if you're talking with a seller with a distressed property, and they're like, "Yeah, well, I just don't want to put my house on the market because there's dead bodies in the house and like it smells and like I know one of the neighbors. I used to go to school with them, and it's really embarrassing. My aunt was a mess, and I just don't want anyone coming in the house." So what would you say to that? They're like, "Oh, I don't know what to say to them. I feel bad." Instead, you're just going to mirror what they say. Okay, so what you're telling me is that there's dead bodies in the house, and you're really embarrassed, and you don't want the neighbors to come through, so you need a quick and easy sale. Yes, you know. And so just mirroring that in a sense is just kind of like reiterating for them to hear what they said. Just little things like that you can pick up for free, and then you start implementing them. You get better at them, and then boom, like you become a master.
Yeah, that was one of my biggest ahas in that mastermind with him as well is to go for the no, essentially. Could you give an example of a no question? Just in case anybody's listening is like, I still don't understand.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll give a question. There's a guy named Cortland Warren. He's just a brilliant speaker. I don't know if you ever heard of him. Success Magazine just had them in one of their in their success leadership labs. And then I first met him. He was speaking at Build in Los Angeles. And anyway, I just love the guy. Study his work. He's just fascinating. And at EXPCon, I saw him sitting in a chair all by himself. I'm like, I'm gonna go sit next to Cortland Warren, right? Like, it's like in the VIP section. So I went over, sat next to him, like, hey, Cortland, hell yeah, you remembered me, we had chatted or whatever. And so I asked him, I'm like, hey, by the way, taking like feverish notes, studying this Jesse Itzler, just like, which is what all great people do, right? They go and they study their craft, right? And so, when it wasn't rude, I'm like, hey, Cortland, would it be crazy for you to come on sometime and speak to our group? He was like, no.
Oh, I love
Right?
it. Yes. I mean, no.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be wild, Ruben?
Yeah.
Would that be crazy?
I guess that wouldn't be crazy.
Yeah.
Done crazier
That's a silly
things.
example, but yeah, I've done crazier things.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's good, man. And I appreciate you doing that just because it is such a mind F that to switch that up in all the books and all the things. And it is a cool way of getting someone to agree by saying the word no. It's very cool.
Yeah.
What are sorry.
No.
Oh,
No, I was just gonna say that, to differentiate ourselves, like I think people really get stuck with that question. I say people, but I mean like new agents and even like agents many years in the business. But with the NAR stuff that came through and everyone being like, how do I articulate my value? And like, like I need a framework for this. And the truth is like your energy when you show up as all of you, right? Two, just even in the questions that you ask, being different and being more interested in the person, that's going to differentiate you from someone. And then three, I would share is just process. So how many agents actually are like, hey, here's my whole process. They still need you to help them weave through it. Some of them might be like, cool, throw the papers behind them and just be like, tell me about it. I don't know. But the fact that you were like, hey, here, I want you to have my entire process end to end of how I'm going to get you there. Because remember, like, when you're cultivating belief in yourself, imagine your clients, they can't even hardly see it. And it's not because they're afraid of change, it's because they don't understand how to get there. They don't know what it looks like. So when you show people process, it takes away that fear of the transition and the change. And then they're tied into you as being their advisor, their trusted advisor. I might be frozen. Were we frozen, Ruben?
yeah, we have a tornado warning here. I apologize.
Okay, it's not me. As long as it's not me, I don't care.
Yeah, so we'll be fine. We'll be fine. It's all good. It's all good. Don't worry about that. But no, I think I caught a little bit of the beginning
Oh
before.
yeah. So well, let me share it again, like real quick. So the simple
Yeah,
thing
go
I
for
was
it.
saying is if you want to differentiate yourself, don't overcomplicate it. Just show up as all of you, like with your real
Right.
energy and show genuine interest in the person. But number two, show people a process because they're not afraid of the change. They just can't see it. So
Mm-hmm.
just like you're cultivating a belief in yourself, help them cultivate a belief in what they're trying to achieve by showing them it's there for the taking, showing them that that they're capable of getting there, and three, that it's going to be worth the effort. So show them the process, and that will differentiate you in itself because many realtors just show up and they're like, let me tell you about myself. Like they don't care. I mean, you're selling yourself, but it's not by telling them how much real estate you sell. It's by showing them who you are by the genuine interest that you have in the way you cultivate a connection with them.
Totally agree. I totally agree. Two things on that. One, people are saying that the technology is going to kick out the real estate agent, but I still think at the very end of the day, they're going to need someone to navigate even the technology. So with you
I have a
given the
crazy
process,
analogy for this. I love it.
okay, cool. And the second
Super
thing
nerd.
is if you go to Canva, if you're with eXp, if you go to Canva, there's a lot of processes that show the whole process on Canva that eXp's given us. Of course, you may have to adjust a little bit, but it's already kind of built for you too, for the people who want to
It's already
go
built.
run with that. Run, yep, it's already built. Say what you're going to say, and then we got a question that came in.
Yeah, I'll keep it simple. Is Canva, my team, brand new agent, literally went in, like fixed up their Canva template with their photo and everything, put in a couple of things about the team, did their first open house, their first solo open houses, had a QR code for the people to scan and was like, hey, by the way, I want you to scan and take my entire buyer process with you. I mean, setting appointments with that magic. Okay. Two, Men in Black, like this is me being a super nerd. Okay. Men in Black. Remember when they like take the alien down and they like open up his head and like inside of it of the robot is like a little tiny alien operating it. I know it's so stupid. I
Yeah,
just showed you the nerd in me.
I
Yeah, he's like,
remember.
yeah. But like the point is like, yeah, people they need you. They absolutely need you. So use technology to your benefit to get all that stuff out of the way and done for you so you can stay focused and present in the thing that matters the most. Ruben's in a tornado. We're not sure if he's okay. He's
Exactly.
back.
And if
He's
you want to
okay.
leverage some technology,
Oh, you're
I'm
back.
good. I'm good. Yeah, I mean, strong winds. Could be a tornado. Who cares? All right. So if someone gets hurt during this tour, I'm gonna feel so bad. Anyways, here's the question: how are you organizing your big A money sign calendar?
I love this from Allie. So this is from Jesse Itzler for any of you. And if you're looking at it and you see like only a couple colors on there, that's because the only thing I put on there are the trips, like big trips or big events that I'm planning for. And the reason for that is it's like for me, I'm not a runner, but I was an athlete like growing up. And so for me, it's like, what are you, and so I translate this into business is like, what are you mentally preparing for that really is going to move the needle of your entire life this year? And so that for me, I use the big one. Obviously, I have other calendars, but the big one for me is just like a great reminder, like that's what you're preparing for. That's what you're getting better at every day to show up better for. And so for me, it's really been like a big, just like visual reminder of what my purpose actually is in the day and where my focus and where my attention is. So thanks, Allie. Allie's a boss at calendar, so can't know that I
Yeah.
can teach her anything, but she's
Go
always
to
learning.
She is, and if anyone wants to go to her YouTube because I think she even broke down like a process of her big A money sign calendar. Um,
Yeah.
and then shout out to Rachel for having one too. Since I guess there is a tornado thing going on. If you don't mind, tell everyone who you are, where they can find you. We might have to wrap this up. I apologize to everyone. Uh,
I love it.
but yeah, they find you if they have extra questions. They can reach out to you. Just tell everyone where you're at.
Cool. So Jessica Nieto, if you're at eXp, you can find me on Workplace. I respond in that thread every day. You can find me on Insta or Facebook. You just look me up. I post often enough. I'll come up to the top. Jessica Nieto, you can reach out to me anytime. If you though like have a question specifically for me, please do reach out. I would say that the one mistake you could make is being too afraid or thinking your question is too small or thinking that somebody won't help you. Ask for help where you need it, and you'll be so surprised at how much people want to love on you.
I love that. Will you be at EXPCon this year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which one, right? I'll be in Barcelona too.
Oh, dang. Okay. Well, I'm talking about here in the United States in Miami. How in October, it'd be my birthday too. um, but
Hey.
yeah, so I always gonna say to that is that for anyone who is going to EXPCon, go up to Jessica. She's super approachable. She won't run from you. She has
Let's have
a
to go to the
lot of
bathroom.
yeah. She's got to pee, but then just get the stall next to her. Remember, we sneak into places, um, and ask her questions. She's like I said, very approachable, very knowledgeable. I really appreciate it. Oh, we got one last one. Sorry, I joined a little
What's
later,
up,
but thank you.
Malik?
Oh. But thank you for taking the time for your day to talk to us. I'm going to be watching this later. Awesome. Thank you so much. Have an amazing day, Jessica. If there's anything we can do for you, please reach
Batten
out.
down the
We're here for you
hatches,
too.
brother.
I might have to go put a mattress over myself in the tub. I don't know what's going on.
Hey, thanks for having me, and make sure that you believe in yourself today. It's there for the taking. Go get it.
Thanks,
We'll see you.
Jessica. Adios.